Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Let's do a shout out to all the dog nuts that have been chasing me down all day to talk shit. I don't know who went to a dog lover page and said like, hey, here's this lady, let's go chase her down and start harassing her. Thanks! I love watching you guys make fools of yourself. Not to mention, gives me gas. We all get to watch you guys act like the natural psychos that you truly are. And, so, in honor of them, here is my video on bestiality and zoophilia. Because, actually, the statistics show, yes, I know, fuck statistics, how dare I. The statistics show that 1 in 8 people have sex with these animals once they own them. Tonight, I'm going to be taking time off to watch westerns and just kind of kick back and enjoy myself, and I'll be back tomorrow with more videos. So let's just get right into it, huh? Bestiality, zoophilia. For those of you who don't know what it means, obviously, this is about people that have sex with their own pets. Alright? Here is an article from the New Times. The 10 grossest bestiality cases in Arizona. I live here. Highly relatable. Seems to be an especially high number of people who get caught having sex with animals in Arizona. And this article was from back in 2013. I have some more relevant ones. I have them all pulled up, and I've started figuring out how to do this, so I'm not going to be sitting there going, Alright. Just early this week, when authorities said a man was just recently jailed for allegedly branding his genitals into his girlfriend's vagina, and he had been arrested for allegedly having sex with a dog. We were only a little surprised. Wait a minute. Oh, there it is. Sorry about that. Number 10, a botched foursome. To their credit, the trio of humans who plan to have a dog complete their foursome are the only ones on this list whose bestiality cases were attempted. They win the New Times Best Attempted Foursome Award. Shane Walker, Sarah Walker, oh god, they're related or married, and Robert Ocker found their dog on Craigslist, but an undercover sheriff deputy ended up being the owner of the dog. They all pled guilty to conspiracy to commit bestiality. You know, in Texas, it's legal to go get a dog or whatever creature and go have sex with it, as long as you're not harming it, right? So it's like, well, what constitutes damage or harm? Number 9, vagina brander that likes dogs. Here he is. New Times first reported Christopher Lynn Jackson's arrest earlier this month after he allegedly drugged his girlfriend and then branded his genitals into her vagina while passed out. Investigators served a warrant at his house this week and recovered videos that clearly show Jackson and 2 women performing various sex acts with a male German Shepherd. One of the women was identified and arrested. Cody Slaughter, interviewing for a job with U.S. Custom Border and Protection last year. They asked him about any criminal activity he'd been involved in. Cops said he admitted to the agency he'd molested a 2-year-old and had sex with animals on a few occasions. This leads me right into another thing that you dog nutters, I'm so happy to make this video, you motherfuckers trying to harass me today and bring me down, just makes me happy. You guys are fucking whack. Pedophiles use dogs to lure children in. It happens a lot. A whole lot, you fucking psychos. Serial horse molester. In 2001, 6 horses at a Tempe stable were violated in the span of just a few months. Police never caught the culprit, but the last incident kind of confirmed what everyone was suspecting. Officers found sex toys, lubricant, and what police believed to be human semen at the scene. Goat rapist. Okay? Goat owners in Yuma. We're gonna do dog stuff, but they caught someone not just drinking the goat's milk, but having sex with the goats on the property. Dog torturer. Horrific abuse was much more than acts of bestiality. Authorities in Pima County alleged that Wayne Allen Dean had burned, maimed, bitten, and sawed the tail off of a dog in addition to allegedly sodomizing it. It also appeared that he had bound the dog's legs with barbed wire. He only served a little more than a month in prison before being released. Unknown poodle rapist. These titles. Phoenix woman's toy poodle went missing one day in 2006. When she stopped looking for it, the dog magically reappeared in her backyard covered in blood and feces. Sorry. The dog had been sexually assaulted and the rapist was never caught. This guy snatched this poodle up and... I'm sorry. Oh dear. Puppy sexually assaulted to death in 2006. 6-week-old Shih Tzu puppies, little dogs, each weighing less than 2 pounds, died from being sexually assaulted. I'm only laughing like this because I know how much this is going to upset all these people, and so I thought, what better time to put a new video out that's highly offensive to dog lovers than now? You sons of bitches, take that. Guy who used puppy to pleasure himself in public. 2 people, a 9-year-old boy and an adult, that sucks the child was there, stumbled upon Thurman McGriff in Phoenix last year. McGriff was holding a puppy, and the adult witness said he was using or acting like he was using the puppy's mouth to pleasure himself. McGriff allegedly told the little boy, "I'm going to do this to you," because the kid would not stop staring at him. Once again, pedophilia, dogs. I actually have a great meme that's going to go on this. It's going to be great. Okay, let's get rid of this article. Let's move on to another one. This one is by a group called Health 24. Bestiality is much more common than you think. Did you know that right now it's entirely legal for a man or a woman in Texas to walk into a store and buy a dog, take that dog home, and have sex with it? Provided he doesn't... I can't help but laugh, too, because it just shows how ate up these people are. Oh, why can't you find a human to have sex with? What's wrong with celibacy? You know, I just... Because they're mentally deranged, and I'm just... You're going to see me laughing through some inappropriate points. And I got harassed so much today. I'm really excited for them to watch this. And, hey, while you guys think you're hurting my feelings and leaving these stupid comments and stuff, you're just giving me views. You're watching my videos and giving me views. Are you guys not understanding that? Is that somewhere outside? Provided that this does not cause the animal any pain, in the eyes of the law, the man has done nothing wrong. You can also do it in Chile, Finland, and on the beaches of Hawaii, as well as in Japan and certain parts of Australia, which also do not prohibit sexual activities between humans and animals. 5 years ago, you could do it in many more countries, including paragons of modern civilization as Sweden, Denmark, and more than a handful of the U.S. states. These facts will probably make you feel surprised, or possibly angry or sick as well, but they're true. One point of comfort before we continue: it is totally illegal in South Africa and has been for centuries. Well, okay. Humans having sex with animals is called bestiality. It isn't nearly as rare as you might think. Estimates of prevalence vary, but by any estimation, the numbers are still substantial. Writing in the 1940s, famed sexual researcher Alfred Kinsey estimated that 8% of men and 3.6% of women had engaged in some sort of sexual act on an animal. Let's remember that this was like back in the day, before it was as common to have them around in the household, pretending that you're like, and people get married to these things. I even seen an ad on Tumblr that a YouTuber was talking about, where the woman was seeking to have sex with a horse during the full moon, and at the bottom she even says, "And in case you're wondering, I've been practicing with my dogs." I've seen some other anti-dog platforms cover this, and it's super common. There are all kinds of women putting this shit up online. One girl was like, "Why would I look for a man when I have this man?" And then she, after someone makes a joke about bestiality, she goes on to say like, "Oh yeah, no, we have sex and this and that," and it's pretty wild. Okay, when researching the topic, one isn't surprised to find that few academic institutions have conducted serious studies on the matter, making it difficult to find strong estimates for the prevalence today. One recent paper, which sought to find a link between sex with animals and penile cancer, has offered a little insight. The study, which took place in Brazil, was published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine, found a 34% prevalence of bestiality amongst men, most of whom were from rural backgrounds, as well as determining it's a risk factor for penile cancer. You might have also heard the term zoophilia, and how does this differ from bestiality? In practice, the concepts are very close together but still different in one crucial aspect. Bestiality refers to the actual act of engaging in sexual intercourse with an animal, regardless of motivation and circumstances. Zoophilia refers more to the bigger picture of people who have a desire to form sexual relationships with animals, which is what we deal with these dog nuts all the time. That's why they make them their partners and say that, that the dog gets them more than their own significant other and all this other stupid hogwash that no one's trying to hear. You just want to fuck your dog, just say it, we get it. Not all zoophiles necessarily engage in acts of bestiality, but the vast majority do, hence the two terms often used interchangeably. Okay? It's also important to remember that bestiality works both ways, and these figures and debates refer to both people who have sex with animals as well as those who allow and often encourage animals to have sex with them. So, definitely that would be heavily gender-based as well, for obvious reasons, but however, zoophilia is more present in people who live and work on farms. That always drove me crazy when I worked on the ranch because people would openly ask me or make jokes about having sex with the horses. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? I don't even really have sex with other humans, especially over the past so many years. I have no interest, so and maybe it's got a lot to do with all these nut jobs and their crazy freaking dog crap, but I'm certainly not. No, gross. What's wrong with people? Oh, boy. A widely publicized documentary by Vice, subtly titled Animal Fuckers, focused on the sexual exploits of two Danish citizens, both of whom lived in urban areas and regularly engaged in sexual intercourse with animals. Outrage in the wake of the documentary quickly turned to pressure, and the government outlawed sexual acts featuring animals in October. It would be naive to suggest, though, the problem had disappeared after the laws had been changed. Even in situations where zoophilia is illegal, it is still far from socially acceptable, and so those who indulge in it are used to keeping quiet. Instead, zoophiles tend to communicate and congregate through societies like a Germany-based Zoophiles Engagement for Tolerance, and there's well-dedicated websites which offer a judgment-free space to converse. The largest of such, Beast Forum, claims over 1.2 million registered members at the time of writing this, as well as the number again in unregistered visitors. The forum has boards where members can share tips on getting their animals to participate in sex acts, as well as posting pictures and videos of their sexual experiences with these animals. These discussions are bracingly open and descriptive. Almost all of the forum's boards are updated with new posts daily, and the general topic board alone receives dozens of posts every day. If my son pops in, I have to kick him out. I shut the door. I don't want him hearing this. The majority of these posts are well-written, coherent, and spark spirited conversations and suggestions. This niche is not simply reserved for rural or uneducated people. These people are bank managers, physiotherapists, teachers, and there are lots of them. Even Health 24's resident expert forums have received dozens of questions and comments on these questions over the years. User question: is it okay if I have sex with my pet dog? Oh boy. The Daily Mail brought the issue to light in 2013 after a slew of brothels were rumored to exist in Germany, though institutions of this nature are likely to maintain a low profile given by their illegality. Certain cultures enshrine the practice of having sex with animals, such as those on the northern coast of Colombia. A second documentary by Vice entitled Asses of the Caribbean documented the widespread practice of pubescent boys having sex with donkeys. What a name. True, many young men practice on donkeys, believing it will improve their sexual prowess and increase the size of their genitals. This practice is widespread and socially accepted, with one man in particular who continued his interspecies relations even after getting married. You'd imagine the lady that's allowing that to happen and then lets him, right? Ew. In South Africa, there have been a number of cases of bestiality that have caught the attention of local news. In 2013, it reported a case of Pretoria woman found guilty of having sex with 2 dogs. 3 years earlier, a man was shot after resisting arrest when police found him having sex with a pig. So they go on into why is it wrong. I think it's pretty obvious. Let's move on to the next article, please. This is by a group called the Straight Dope. Okay? 1 in 8 people having sex with an animal. There's what someone writes in. I've looked around for documentation and evidence to refute or validate this statement my sociology professor made to illustrate that the world isn't really what it seems. He claims that 1 out of every 8 humans has had sex with an animal. Maybe I lack initiative, but this doesn't seem like the kind of thing you could just go out in the street and ask for a show of hands. Instead, I camped out in the medical library looking for articles on zoophilia, or the love of one's fellow creatures. Highlights include, they go to Alfred Kinsey, of course. You knew I was going to drag him into this. Some 17% of the farm boys in our sample had sexual contact with farm animals to the point of orgasm, while half or more of the boys from certain rural areas of the United States, half or more of boys from certain rural areas in the United States had had such experience. He later alludes to the great tolerance for such things in the West. I take this to mean that in Kinsey's day, when you saw a happy couple walking down the aisle in Wyoming, it was better than even money that the groom had sex with a sheep. Not necessarily today, though. Comparative studies of 100 students at the University of Northern Iowa found that in 1974, so remember this is an old article, in old studies, but like I said, I have trouble finding it, 3% had by 1980. Do you think it's just horny farm boys that do this? I have a report about a 42-year-old woman with 4 children who was 5 months pregnant. She complained to her doctor of dizziness and fainting and confessed that approximately 20 minutes prior to her arrival, she had had coitus with her German Shepherd dog. What is it with all these people and having sex with German Shepherds? Now I'm wondering about y'all with the German Shepherds. I got questions. 1 or 2 minutes later, she began feeling hot and broke out in whelps. I'm sorry. And felt faint. She was allergic to dog semen. The crazy loser. That's what they said. Oh, I'm getting a call and I can't take it, so he's just going to have to wait. Back to statistics, I found a study on the prevalence of bestiality among psychiatric patients. Surprise! Ordinary hospital patients and psychiatric staff. Psychiatric patients were found to have a statistically higher prevalence rate of 55% of bestiality. What struck me was not that the first group had a higher rate. Because, hey, they're psychiatric patients. But the implication that, as your professor complained, maybe 1 in 8 ordinary people are having sex with animals. However, it turns out that 2 out of 20 ordinary hospital patients and 3 out of 20 psychiatric staff, 2 of them female, had fantasized, zoophilia, about sexual contact with an animal. 1 had done nothing about it. According to the Encyclopedia of Unusual Sex Practices by Brenda Love, this is the ancient practice she's covering. Okay, no, we're going to pass that as birds. I didn't mean to. Sheep herders, we're not concerned about that. Okay, let's get out of this article and let's get down to the last one I have to share with you guys. You dog lovers eat it up. I think it's funny. Like I said, you guys can't do shit to me. You can't hurl any insult at me I've never heard, and you're not going to scare me away from the topic, and you're not going to change my mind. So run that shit. The dark truth about bestiality parties. All right? This week, and this was from April of 2017, a court heard of how a 64-year-old Carol Bowditch was filmed as she had sex with her dogs and then their owners at animal sex parties in the UK. The case exposed the seedy underworld of bestiality and the people who take part in this extreme activity. This is from Metro KUK, and had investigated the parties and what drives them to take part in them. The forums where zoo parties, human and animal orgies, are discussed are full of threads with advice for those arranging events for the first time. One woman describes how her first time was in front of her husband and 8 other members of their BDSM group. She explains how she was tied to a breeding bench, a restraining device, and taken by a black lab as others watched. The most sought-after locations for zoophile orgies are the discreet ones. Zoophiles often express the desire to find rural sites that are remote enough to ensure privacy, but are still accessible for those taking part. Perversely looking out for one another appears to be a common theme among arranging these parties, where they like to watch one another have sex with these animals. Many suggest setting rules first, and almost all stress the importance of meeting other zoo friends and their animals before taking part. You guys, I think this is what we're all going to be living in, I swear. One user stresses the importance of meeting other participants beforehand, citing a bad experience in a room surrounded by 6 random guys with very bad personal hygiene and poor social skills. 1 second. Honey, I hear that, but you have to go. Mommy's talking about something inappropriate, okay? Yeah, I usually don't mind him, like, coming in and out of the room, but definitely not for this one. 6 random guys with very bad personal hygiene and poor social skills. This stupid woman set up to have sex with a dog with a bunch of strangers and then runs into a whole bunch of dudes, smelly ass dudes that don't wash themselves and have sex with animals. And oh my god, that's funny to me. I'm sorry, what a fucking idiot. Later, he warns just inviting random people off the internet into your house, or indeed turning up at someone's house on promise, can get extremely weird very quickly. You guys don't find, like, this whole practice extremely weird very quickly? Because I do. Another suggests all participants take an STD check before pointing out the really nice thing about dogs is they can't become infected with human STDs. Rules are important for a number of reasons, not least because the activities taking place at the parties are highly illegal, at least in the UK. Just this week, Bowditch was handed a community order for having sex with a St. Bernard, a black Labrador, and an Alsatian. Oh my god. Maximum sentencing in the UK for having sex with an animal is 2 years. Many forums forbid the discussion of a meeting and its locations within the threads and restrict feedback to simple remarks like, had fun at an M&G. Meet and greet? Mutton gut? Anybody else have any M&Gs? I'm just having fun with this. Still, people are brazen enough to make it clear that they want to take part. In one thread in the UK, a guy explains he is single, into dog and horse perversion sex, and looking to arrange a private party. He gets a number of responses, including one from an amateur photographer who offers to document the proceedings. But the desire for secrecy means the contents of the sex parties are rarely discussed in detail. Many spell out their fantasies and stories they claim to be pure fiction, but occasionally someone shares their experiences. Other accounts provide a little more detail of the perversions. One forum member describes attending a party organized by his college admin in the 1970s, where he watched as she was mounted by a dog. He recalls she then repeated the act at 2 later parties. Website X Berliner carries a more detailed description of a party in Essen, Germany, attended by 10 men, 4 women, and 2 dogs. And why do people have sex with animals? Research on zoo parties is limited. However, academics have highlighted several reasons people have sex with animals. Oh my god. He points us to several key studies that have taken place. The Kinsey reports. Professor John Money asserts that zoophilic behaviors were usually transitory, occurring when there is no other sexual outlet available. However, more recent studies have suggested alternative reasons for engaging in sex with animals. Dr. Hani Maletsky, who featured in Channel 4 documentary Animal Passions, researched zoophilia for her book, Understanding Bestiality and Zoophilia. She found most men, 91%, said they had sex with animals because they were attracted to them and had love or affection. 75% that say they were accepting or easy to please. Only a small portion, 7%, said it was because they were too shy to have sex with humans. All women approached said they were sexually attracted to the animal 100%. And I've seen a lot of that. All kinds of women doing that. It's so fucking weird. A study of 32 zoophiles by Andrea Beats found some started by getting aroused watching animal matings on TV, while others began by touching the genitals of their pet out of curiosity. Alternatively, a study in the journal Romanian Neurosurgery describes how a 42-year-old suddenly started developing zoophile tendencies toward his hens after he had an aneurysm in posterior cerebral artery. Oh my goodness, I am cracking the fuck up over here. I'm sorry, this is just insane. It's difficult to determine parties of this nature taking place, but according to one poll of users on the site, 1 in 5 had experienced sex with 9 or more at once. This is giant orgies with dogs. The request was for heterosexual participants, but the only one to attempt sex with the animal was the host wife, Bridget. The account describes how the men and their dogs circled the bed as Bridget first played with and then attempted to have sex with a 3-year-old Alsatian named Cash. On that occasion, Cash is described as jabbing frantically for several seconds but failing to penetrate Bridget. The harrowing account continues with Cash wetting the bed twice before being taken for a walk by his owner. You fucking psychopaths. This is the stupidest shit. You would think it was a fucking joke until you see all this. You're like, ooh, people are really doing this, huh? Ohio is one of the spots bestiality is legal. It's being banned, so I bet it is now. Hawaii, Kentucky, Nevada, New Mexico, Texas, Vermont, West Virginia, Wyoming, and the District of Columbia. This article is from 2017. Some of that might have changed. In the UK, the thread is 444 pages long, with users explaining their most perverted fantasies of what they are looking to do in real life. It wasn't until April 2015 that Denmark put in place a sex ban to clamp down on controversial sex tourism to the country. Okay. I'm gonna stop. Because obviously I can read about this all day. There's plenty of information on it, and I'm really enjoying pissing off the dog nuts, and that's what you sons of bitches get for harassing me and trying to be mean to me. Ha ha ha. So, anyways. From the bottom of my dog-hating heart, I appreciate all of you. I'm sorry that I even have to say any of this. This should be something it's not even a thing. It should be super taboo, but apparently it's not. It happens all the time. These fucking psychopaths. Thank you everyone for all of your support. Thank you for watching me laugh through this video. This was friggin' beyond funny. And until next time, tomorrow, I'll see you guys all then. Thank you.